We have got a really fun episode for you guys today. We are actually going to welcome you into a discussion that we had ourselves last night, and it really stems around just meeting each other's needs, and somehow we tend to overcomplicate that sometimes, or maybe we don't. Maybe it is a little bit complicated, but we want you guys to enjoy our conversation, so stay tuned. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Redeemed Marriage Podcast. This is Rusty and Heather Bryant, and we have a fun episode today for you because you guys listen to us, and look, we're always very open. Most of the time when we do an episode, it is a discussion that we haven't really prepared for all that much. We just have a topic, and it's conversation that we're able to have to kind of give some direction and advice and encouragement and all that kind of stuff to you guys. But we are also always learning about each other. We're always growing. That's the fun part about marriage. It's this long journey. It's not a sprint.
Not a sprint.
It's a marathon. And we're always learning about each other. And so last night, we actually had a really good discussion that we probably knew this stuff about each other, but sometimes it just takes a little bit of digging and communication and stuff. So I guess we kind of practiced what we preached last night because we talked and had a good discussion, but it made me start really thinking about it a lot more today. And I did have a long time to think. We drove 10 hours home. And so as we were driving, I was thinking about it a little bit more, and I thought, I'm going to guess we're not the only people that have this this same issue.
So I don't think we've ever come across an issue that anybody's had, including us, where you're the only people in the world.
Very true. Mm-hmm. Now, we do, a lot of times, we say, we can't speak for everybody, and so we have to speak in very general terms. So even on this topic today, we completely understand it's not going to be exactly the same, but what we're saying is, this is real. This is a real conversation that we had. And so, you're going to probably have to twist it a little bit, but I would just venture to say that I think a lot of people would really fall into the same boat, the same line of thinking. So let's set it up just a little bit so people will know what we were talking about and why we were talking about it. So this weekend, we had a chance to travel, and we're actually going to see our older son at college, and we never travel alone. That was really weird. Yeah. I don't know that I really realize. I mean, we've had kids for 21 years. Mm-hmm. And so, rarely. I mean, we have had times where we've been able to go and do things and that's what we encourage couples to do. But when we're traveling for a purpose, there's usually a kid with us.
Sure. And
so this particular weekend, we were on our own, and so it was a quick trip up and back. I mean, not quick because it's a long stinking trip, but we weren't there for very long. We were in the car probably about as long as we were actually there. But we had some points at a nicer hotel, and it just so happened that the points were less than some of the other hotels. So we were staying at a nice place. And so
just a one king size bed.
Yeah,
because usually we have the two.
That's right,
queens.
Mm-hmm.
And it had a balcony.
Yeah, it was fancy. Super nice. And so I made a hint during the afternoon, and was like, "Hey." Because you're not a big hotel person.
Yeah.
They kind of wig you out a little bit. And I know that about you. But I sort of made this comment and a suggestion and a hint. And I was like, hey, nice hotel. We're on our own this weekend. It'd be a great time to enjoy each other's company. See how I said that very nicely. And you were like, okay, or whatever. I don't know. You just you didn't you seemed like that would be a great idea.
Yeah, I didn't shut it down, or it was just like, okay.
Okay.
So, I mean, we were fixing to walk out the door to go, so it wasn't like, let's do it right now.
Yeah.
It was just at some point. I was like, okay, I got this.
So the night progressed. Let's just give all the juice. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, this is a great conversation. All right, so we get back, and you actually weren't feeling well. And totally fine. Like, and so you were like, I'm just going to lay down for a little bit. I actually went out on the little patio, the balcony, back porch thing, balcony thing, and sat out there. It was a beautiful night. And so anyway, when I came back in, the discussion basically, I'm going to completely summarize this part of it.
It was a really long discussion. And by discussion, like, we weren't arguing.
Oh,
it
no.
was just a real life, this is how you feel, this is how I feel, how can we make this better?
Yeah, and for your side of it, really where this came from was because it got to be really late and you weren't feeling great anyway, but you believed that there was this huge expectation on my part. Like, I think you even used the term or used the words
A roll around.
a roll around, which whatever that is. but you in your mind worked up this like big elaborate, romantic night. And then you were like, I can't meet those expectations now, or I don't feel like meeting those expectations now. And so the conversation turned to where I said, okay, I mean, you even said like that you feel like you were kind of blowing it out of proportion a little bit. And so I had to step in and say, yeah, like, I'm not that complicated. And I truly believe that most guys, if not all guys, I can't say all guys. It doesn't matter. This is me. I'm just talking about me. But I think a lot of guys fall in this category. Like, it's not that complicated. And when it comes to needs of a man and needs of a woman, what I was trying to get across to you, the point was the needs that I have, which are, I mean, the top of the list, and probably if you make a list of 1 to 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, all are the same thing. It's just it's physical needs. So the physical needs. And where...
As in intimacy.
Physical intimacy, yes. So where we get a little bit, where couples get really confused on this, and this is what I said to you, is that you don't think like that. Because it's hard for you to think, wait, like, there really is just like one thing that's like the main thing. Because when it comes to you, I told you, I said, I could make a list of 10 things that I know make you happy. And 10 things that for you would be considered these are needs of yours, or they're just things that, and I don't even want to say needs, they're just things that I know make you happy.
Yeah, when you do them, it makes me feel loved.
Yes. And so I said to you, if I made a list of those 10 things, the hard part and the complicated part for a guy to meet those needs, so for me to meet those needs, those 10 things are different every day. Not like...
The 10 things are the same. It's just what combination you're going to do.
What combination, which ones actually mean something to you that day. And, because because I said to you, I said, I could do, of that list, I could do number 3. And on number 3, for that particular day, it may mean nothing hardly to you. But the next day, it might be the most important thing I could do. Okay, so just backing up to that, because I did a lot of the talking last night, because I was trying to encourage you, but is that accurate? Like what I just said, is all of that accurate? They can't see you nodding your head.
Yes.
This is an audio podcast.
I think it was a very, I'm sorry nod.
But I'm not meaning for you to be sorry. Like, I want people out there to get this, because I think that I'm going to guess that if we, I'm going to say the majority of our listeners are probably females. And so I want to be an encouragement to the females to be able to say, I think females overcomplicate things. And so for the guys, like, I want you to understand, because I don't think that people have this conversation very often. Like, I don't think the conversation, we've been married for almost 27 years, and we've never had that conversation. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think
yeah, well, I mean, we've had it on different levels, but never to that, like, specific,
right,
I don't think.
Right. So let me do this real quick, because you even said, what are those 10 things? Mm-hmm. Well, I made a list today in my head, and and as soon as I got home, I put them down, because I'm a safe driver.
Yeah, you are.
And I was not going to be typing things on my phone while I was driving. All right,
typing. How old are you?
Hey, I didn't have the typewriter, but all right. So here's the thing. I put down 10 things. And the crazy thing is that you can see the 5 love languages in all of these. Mm-hmm. All right, so this is a list of stuff that I know makes you happy. All right, the first 5 are actually like acts of service type things, because that's a big love language of yours. So you do not like dishes to pile up in the dishwasher. I mean, in the sink, and you really don't like for them to be there overnight, but you also understand that the best time for me to do it is first thing in the morning. So you're like, I understand, it's no big deal. But dishes, that's a big thing. You love for me to help with the laundry, because it just takes a load off of you. I see what I did there. You're very particular about our home looking nice and not cluttered. And your phrase is, everything has a home. So you like for everything to have a home and be put up. If something is like broken around the house, you want it to be fixed. I mean, even if light bulbs are out, like, change the light bulbs. And if I can't fix it, then find somebody that can fix it, that kind of thing. Dinner. You've said on here before, you don't like to think about dinner every night. So if I plan dinner, not necessarily cook it, but just plan it, like, that's a big deal. Like, go to the grocery and get the stuff, and then you'll cook it, or we'll cook it together. Okay, so those were 5 things that were kind of acts of service. The next 2 were sort of like physical touch. You love for me to play with your hair, and you love for me to rub your back. Okay, those 2 things. Then you're not big on gifts so much. You do like gifts, but we've talked about this on here. But if I'm out at the grocery and I grab, like, you love Milk Duds. So if I grab a box of Milk Duds, like, that's important. All right. You do like to hear words of affirmation. You just like to hear me say that you're beautiful. And then for, like, quality time, you just like snuggling on the couch until you get hot. And then you're like, get off of me. But you like the snuggling on the couch, watching, like, your shows or your type movie or whatever. Those 10, how did I do?
You did good. I mean, like, and I don't want anybody to hear that I expect you to do all 10 of those things all the time.
That's the whole point of this.
Those are the things that if you randomly do those things, it makes me exceedingly happy.
Okay. So all the guys out there that might be listening to this, they're like, okay, I could probably think of a list like that too. But here's where it becomes very complicated for a guy. When I wake up in the morning, and I do believe that most men are like this. We want to make our wives happy. I want you to be happy. But there's no day that I can wake up and my feet hit the floor and I can go, hey, I want to make her happy today. And I know that this every single day is a home run. Like, I could do it every single day, and I know that even if nothing else gets done, this one thing is going to make you happy.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
That's true, right?
It's true. Okay, wait. Hold on. Let's talk about this just a little bit more.
Well, I wasn't going to turn the podcast off.
No, I'm just saying, like, if you did any of those 10, it would make me happy. I mean, I would be like, oh, gosh, thank you. But it may have not been the thing that day that I was like, oh, it would be amazing if this got done. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, I know. That's my whole point.
Yeah.
But so I don't know really. I do think, and I'm being really serious here. I do think that that's part of the beauty of how different God made men and women, because there is this, like, for a guy, like, we have to be on. Like, I feel like I have to kind of be on my toes all the time, always trying to pursue you, and I do think that's important. It can become taxing and annoying, I think, for some guys, because they feel like I can't do anything. I can't ever do anything right for you, because women don't like the conversation that we're having right now. Women don't really grasp it like this, and so what you probably feel is, why can't he ever do anything to make me happy? And it might be that he's doing something, but just not what you need that day. And so in your mind, you think he's not doing anything to make you think he's not making you happy. And I'm just talking about in general. This is not you.
Yeah.
This is not you.
I'm with you.
But in general, like, I think that's where women can get stuck, because the guy might, and for us, let's say I bring you flowers one day, and that particular day might just be the day that flowers is a big deal to you. And so you're like, oh, that's the greatest thing ever, and you make a big deal. Well, then, all of a sudden, I think flowers is the most important thing that I could ever do for you. And so I may start, oh, that's my go-to. I got to go get some flowers. And you may not care about flowers again for another year. And so then all of a sudden, you're just like, why don't you ever do the dishes or the laundry? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay.
I'm with you. I think that makes sense. I also think that there are probably some women listening going, 10 things? If he would just do one, any one. But to your point, and that I'm reinforcing what you're saying. I'm not saying something different. I hope this comes across the same way. Is to your point, is maybe he is doing something.
That's right.
It's just not maybe it's not in your top 5. But being able to recognize what he is doing is an important thing.
Well,
and to be able to communicate about it.
Well, here's the other thing. If you've been married for any length of time, that list of 10 things, it changes.
Sure it does.
A lot over time. But guys have a hard time picking up on that. And it's because, let's shift gears. However are we going to make a noise for shifting gears? But I've said this on here before, and this is why this part of it is not complicated. For me, and I think for a lot of guys, it doesn't change. And I can tell you for a fact that for me, any day when you wake up, any day that actually has 24 hours in it, that's every day.
I was like, are there days that
Any
don't?
day that actually has 24 hours in it, there is a home run every single day. And so, and the crazy thing about it is, we say that, we talk about love languages a lot. There's 5 love languages. I just kind of went over them briefly. But when it comes to physical intimacy, all 5 of those love languages are met in that physical intimacy. Because, even like for me, words of affirmation, and you can meet the need of affirmation and affirming me through physical intimacy. Quality time. I said this last night, like for me, being connected to you emotionally, quality that's quality time. And for me to connect with you emotionally means physical a lot of the times. Gifts, that is a gift. Same with service. That is an act of service. And what I miss?
I don't know. I was thinking you were going to miss acts of service. Acts of service, physical touch.
Physical touch. That was the one.
Oh, okay.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah,
there it is.
Physical touch.
So all of that to say, now I'm saying that there are other things that show me love, and you know that. But if you were to come home and say, all right, here's the deal. Do you want me to cook dinner or you want to fool around? I'd be like, who's hungry? Nobody's hungry in this house. Why do you look at me like that?
Okay, because I know. Okay, and you said at the beginning, this is you.
Yes,
this is you.
I know.
And I also agree that it's probably 80% of the men or women. It could be that there's women that have that one thing that's a homeroom and it's physical intimacy. Home run, and it's physical intimacy.
Yes.
And I know that, but so I don't want to put people in a lane that they are not supposed to be in, or that's not their lane. So what I want to make sure that people hear is to talk to your spouse about it. Because here's the deal. I know for a fact that there's men out there that would say, you know what my home run is? Every day, just have dinner on the table. And if that's your man's home run, do it.
Yep.
And your wife's list may be 10 different things than what mine are.
Yes.
But know your wife well enough and talk to her and watch her reaction to things that you come up with your own list of 10 things. So the point is, for men, I think that it's just a lot simpler.
Yes.
They just, it's not near as complicated to make you happy. And yes, yours is physical intimacy without a doubt. Home run. If I did that any day of the week, it would be a home run. But I don't want people to get caught up in that being, oh, well, then that might be my man's. It might be your woman's, and that's fine too. But and that's where just sitting, like we did last night, it is sitting down and talking about it and taking the pressure off of it being this big, extravagant expectation, which is what I still, after almost 27 years, was trying to make it, instead of just and you helped me understand, it doesn't have to be an extravagant roll around.
Yes.
To still hit a home run.
Great summary. I'm fixing to put a bow on this thing.
Are you now?
And I'm going to wrap it up so nice for you. And I'm also going to give very practical homework. All right. So here's the thing. Just like you said, we don't need people to blow us up on social media and tell us that nobody's like us or that you're not like us. We understand. This is a conversation of us. You sum that up beautifully by saying, this is not supposed to be everybody in the same lanes as us. So we know that. But here's what you need. Here's what you can do. All right. You go to your spouse, wives, because we're saying to you, more than likely, your husband making him happy is not as complicated as you think it is.
That's right.
So this is a very simple, and it's not even like even this is simple. Go to your spouse and say, hey, I've been listening to this podcast. I got a question for you. If I wanted to make you happy, like, is there one thing that's just a home run for you every day? And they may say, hey, that blue shirt that I like to wear, just make sure it's clean every day. And if that's the case, clean the shirt.
Or buy 5 more.
But I do think that you will find that most men are pretty simple like that. And they're just going to tell you one or maybe 2 things and be like, man, I'm telling you, if you do that, whatever day you do it, it's going to make me a happy person.
Right. As long as it doesn't come back with quit nagging me or, something that's like an ongoing, thing that, I mean,
And look, that also, and I am saying this too, although it's simple, that doesn't mean that you're off the hook from doing everything.
That's right. You said all I had to do was keep your blue shirt clean.
I mean, let's be adults too,
Right.
But then guys, and again, this could be flipped a little bit too, but guys, go and say to your spouse, hey, I heard this dude talking on a podcast, and he was like, man, I've got 10 things that I know make my wife happy, but they're never the same day. They change, all that. And be like, hey, could I try to guess what your 10 things are? Like, make a list and say, I'm just going to guess. I'm going to play a game. See if you can get the 10 things. And then let your spouse say, yeah, that's exactly right. And even chime in to say, maybe there is the one thing. Gosh, you would be a lucky man. If maybe there's that one thing that your wife says, you do this every day, I am a happy person. And if it is, do it.
That's a great bow.
Wrap that joker up,
Yeah,
put a bow on it.
Yeah, you did.
I just think that even when I look at this list and I think, okay, this is complicated, but the part that makes it not complicated is that we talked about it, and that I actually have a list of 10 things that, at least for right now, those are 10 pretty accurate things. And so, I mean, even though it's like playing Russian roulette sometime to figure out which number is actually the right one for the day, keeps me on my toes and keeps me pursuing you. So
Love it.
All right. Well, how was that?
You did a great job. He told me before he was going to take the lead on this one. I'm glad you did.
I just think it's fun to think about and talk about. And so I hope that it's very practical for people out there. And if it is, then, hey, let's take some action steps and do something about it. All right. If you get a chance, hit the follow, like, subscribe, whatever it is that your particular podcast platform asks you to do, so that you get these or it'll be downloaded to you every week. And then if you get a chance, hit the review or the ratings. Give us however many stars you like to give us.
Are there 5?
There are 5.
Oh, let's go for 5.
And write us a review, because it does put our podcast in front of more people. So let's work on that algorithm.
And I think we do have 5 stars, because somebody asked me what our podcast was this weekend, and I told them, and they pulled it right up, and they go, "Ooh, 5 stars!"
Oh yeah, we got a lot of 5 stars. All right, hey, thanks for listening. We'll see you guys next week.